Under the ink-black sky, the voice begins, calm yet heavy with wonder. What if I told you something, the size of a small moon, just vanished from every telescope on Earth? One moment, it was there, gleaming faintly against the velvet dark. The next, gone. No trace, no explosion, just absence. It began, as so many cosmic mysteries do, with a whisper. Astronomers from Chile to Beijing, scanning the deep void between stars, caught sight of a faint traveler, catalogued and named with bureaucratic precision, 3I Atlas. A comet, they thought. Another icy wanderer, drifting through the endless ocean of space. But the whisper grew louder. At first, 3I Atlas behaved as comets do. Its orbit was stable, its path predictable. Telescopes recorded a thin arc of reflected light, barely enough to register. But then came the first anomaly. The images from China's orbital telescope arrived bathed in an electric blue glow, not the soft white of frozen dust, not the faint green of ionized gas, but a blue that seemed alive. It pulsed, not flickered. Scientists cross-checked exposure times, adjusted sensors, cleaned mirrors, recalibrated instruments. The glow remained. No comet glows like that. Cold things do not burn with light. Reports poured in from observatories across the globe. Japan, Italy, the Atacama Desert, all saw the same impossible hue. Explanations were swift but unsatisfying. Solar reflection, gas jets, optical noise. But the numbers wouldn't bend to reason. The equations cracked under their own logic. Ice doesn't ignite and the void doesn't shimmer. Then, as they magnified the frames, something terrifyingly beautiful emerged. The object's surface wasn't rough and chaotic, like the countless comets humanity had charted. It had lines, clean, deliberate, symmetrical, angles, panels, ridges. A geometry no accident could sculpt. It looked constructed. Inside the control rooms, silence replaced chatter. Technicians stared at the enhanced renderings, metallic reflections, patterned lattices, subtle curves that screamed of design. Governments intervened. High-resolution files disappeared behind digital firewalls. Public data streams blurred, sanitized, censored. But whispers persisted. It's not a comet. It's a creation. Telescopes tracked it relentlessly as it approached the inner solar system, tracing its faint blue heartbeat. For weeks, the object drifted in perfect compliance with celestial mechanics. Then, without warning, the numbers shifted. Its speed increased, not by gravitational influence or solar pressure, but by choice. Acceleration without loss of mass. A climb so steady, so precise, it mocked the laws of motion themselves. Astronomers reran simulations. Perhaps it was venting gas, a hidden jet of vapor propelling it forward. But for that theory to hold, Atlas would have to eject 5 billion tons of material in a matter of days, an event bright enough to outshine Mars. Yet no telescope saw so much as a sparkle of debris. It moved, and the void remained silent. In Harvard's physics department, Dr. Avi Loeb recalculated the data. Then, before a packed press conference, he spoke words that reshaped science overnight. It's accelerating without losing mass. That means something else is pushing it, from within. A single sentence that cracked the world open. Some dismissed it as madness. Others whispered, then it's not a rock. As the days passed, more anomalies surfaced. Its trajectory wasn't random anymore. It corrected itself in small, rhythmic bursts, as though a hidden pilot adjusted the course. It avoided gravitational wells with intention, sliding past Venus with surgical precision. Instruments detected faint electromagnetic pulses, like the breathing of a machine. Fear fused with fascination. Humanity watched, unable to look away. Across continents, telescopes turned toward one blue point, gliding through the heavens, its glow pulsing like a heartbeat, each rhythm slower than thought, faster than comfort. Then a breakthrough. Spectrographs from the James Webb Space Telescope came through. Instead of the telltale fingerprints of ice, carbon, and silicate, what every comet is made of, the data returned impossible ratios. nickel separated cleanly from iron. In nature, that cannot happen. Those elements fuse deep within dying stars, their bonds unbreakable without industrial intervention. Yet here they were, isolated, refined, engineered. It's like digging into a glacier and finding stainless steel, one astronomer murmured. 3. I-Atlas wasn't frozen chaos, it was forged order. Layer upon layer of metal and carbon composites, structured like armor. A shell designed to endure deep space, heatless, airless, eternal. As it neared Mars, telescopes detected smaller, dimmer objects following in formation, each moving in flawless synchronization with the main body. Officials called them companion fragments, but the term fooled no one. These were not accidents. They flew in perfect rhythm, like satellites guarding a mothership. Mathematicians ran the probabilities. The odds of such formation occurring naturally, 5 in 100,000. Nature does not march in step. Someone or something was conducting this orchestra. And when astronomers traced I-Atlas's origin backward through time, all paths converged on one chilling point in the sky, the very same region where, 1977, radio telescopes caught the famous wow signal, a single burst of energy that some believed to be our first cosmic hello. Now, decades later, another message had returned along that same invisible thread. What if the signal wasn't a question? One researcher whispered. What if it was a promise? By December, anticipation wrapped the planet like static. Every observatory synchronized for a singular event. December 19th, when I-Atlas would make its closest approach to Earth. Humanity's instruments, all pointed to the same place for the first time in history. NASA's control rooms hummed with quiet dread. The mission: detect debris. If Atlas had accelerated through vented gas, there would be a cloud. If not, if the void remained clean, then the unthinkable would stand undeniable. As the data streamed in, monitors glowed blue-white, numbers rolled, graphs danced, then silence fell. No gas, no dust, no heat, nothing. It hadn't been pushed by nature, it had chosen to move. Then the images sharpened, panels, hexagonal symmetry, lines too precise for randomness. The body gleamed like brushed metal beneath distant sunlight. One engineer whispered, "That's not a comet." Another asked, "Then what the hell is it?" Before anyone could answer, a pattern rippled through the readings, a faint electromagnetic pulse repeating every 11 seconds. Too regular for noise, too deliberate for chance. Binary translations revealed the sequence: 2, 3, 5, 7, prime numbers, the language of intelligence. It wasn't an echo, it was communication. Across the world, newscasters stumbled for words. The impossible had become real. I-Atlas was speaking. Its pulse continued, steady, patient, unyielding. Every 11 seconds, a mathematical heartbeat across the cosmic dark. And somewhere beyond that glow, beyond the panels and precision, the thought formed like static in every human mind. It's alive. The world stood still. Every transmitter, every listening post, every silent rooftop with a telescope pointed upward waited for the next pulse. 11 seconds apart, then another. The blue rhythm of something vast, intelligent, and deliberate. Across continents, the signal remained identical. The same interval, the same strength. Radio telescopes in Australia confirmed it. So did the arrays in Chile and Greenland. There was no static, no distortion. The cosmos was silent except for that one perfect beat. Inside NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, a team of linguists and mathematicians gathered in a dim control room. The air buzzed with fluorescent hums and coffee breath. On the main screen, the binary sequence unfolded: 2, 3, 5, 7, repeating endlessly before shifting into an arrangement of dots and gaps. Geometry, not language. 10 concentric rings crossed by a single diagonal line appeared in digital reconstruction. 10 and 1, a pattern, a map, or maybe a signature. No one could tell. Dr. Lillian Cortez, an astrophysicist from MIT, leaned toward the display. "It's the same symbol we saw etched in the frequency bands of the first burst," she whispered. "It's not random. It's self-referential, like it's describing itself." Her colleague, Dr. Malik Ghani, ran his trembling hand through his hair. Or it's describing us, he said. Outside, social media burned with chaos. Headlines screamed, "Contact ? Comet speaks in prime numbers, the blue messenger." Religious leaders called for prayer. Conspiracy channels flooded the net with theories. Some claimed it was an AI probe from a lost human civilization. Others warned of invasion. Governments stayed silent. The data was locked, compartmentalized, encrypted beyond access. Yet even silence had a rhythm, echoing the pulse that kept reaching Earth like a metronome of fate. Then, a shift. The interval shortened. 11 seconds became 10.8, then 10.5. The frequency deepened, richer, layered, as if a second voice had joined the first. Analysts compared spectrograms. Subtle harmonics shimmered within. It was no longer a simple signal. It carried modulation, a pattern hidden inside another pattern. Something was unfolding. In the freezing night of the Atacama Plateau, a graduate astronomer named Ren Ito stared at his scope's feed. The blue object had brightened. Its edges glowed with filament lines, curved arcs of cobalt fire running along its surface. He hit record. For 13 minutes, 3I Atlas pulsed faster, brighter, alive. Then the glow intensified to a blinding surge, forcing instruments to auto-dim. The data spike overloaded his sensors. When the light faded, Atlas was gone. The void was empty. No fragments, no motion, just a hollow patch of stars. Within hours, global networks erupted. The object had vanished simultaneously from every telescope, ground, orbital, and infrared. Some cried hoax. Others whispered apocalypse. But deep in the analytic servers of JPL, the last wave of data revealed one impossible detail: a residual electromagnetic echo aimed directly at Earth. It wasn't scattering through space. It was focused, narrow, precise, intentional. Dr. Cortez stared at the coordinates. "It's pointing toward us," she said softly, "not the planet. A specific point on Earth. Latitude, longitude, the high desert of Nevada." By dawn, a small team boarded an unmarked military jet. Among them was Dr. Avi Loeb himself, calm but unblinking. Satellite telemetry confirmed faint electromagnetic residue lingering in the upper atmosphere above the coordinates. Something invisible had brushed the sky. "We're chasing a shadow," one technician muttered. At the landing zone, a vast field of dry earth stretched beneath the rising sun. Nothing unusual, until instruments began to scream. Compass needles spun wildly. Drones malfunctioned midair. Static danced through radios in synchronized bursts, 11 seconds apart. And then they saw it. A circle burned faintly into the soil, 50 meters across, perfectly symmetrical. Not scorched, not melted, but transformed. Sand fused into glassy blue crystal, smooth as a mirror. In its center lay a single fragment no bigger than a hand, metallic, hexagonal, still warm. Scientists surrounded it with trembling reverence. The fragment reflected the morning light like water and emitted a faint hum, familiar, rhythmic, alive. The same 11-second pulse. Every instrument that touched it went silent, as if it absorbed electricity itself. Dr. Loeb knelt beside it. "It left something behind," he murmured, "a seed, a record." He looked up at the sky. Or a message. That night, analysis began. Inside a sealed lab, the fragment rested within magnetic containment. Under electron microscopy, it revealed impossible structure. Molecular lattices interlocked at 90-degree intervals, geometries no human engineering could reproduce. When hit with light, the surface refracted patterns resembling the 10-ring symbol crossed by a diagonal line. "It's mimicking the signal," Cortez whispered. "It's speaking through reflection." As data poured in, another revelation shattered logic. The fragment contained traces of isotopes never found in the solar system, heavy elements existing only under extreme gravitational compression, the kind near collapsed stars. Whatever forged it did so in conditions beyond human reach. Meanwhile, the world transformed. Churches overflowed. Doomsday prophets filled the airwaves. Children in classrooms watched holographic replays of the comet's disappearance like a new myth. Politicians argued whether to classify the discovery as extraterrestrial or experimental technology. None could agree. The only consensus, humanity had crossed a threshold. In the following days, the fragment's pulse accelerated. 10 seconds, 9, 8. The rhythm of a countdown or communication. Spectral analysis revealed bursts of microdata encoded within each pulse, sequences too complex for randomness, too deliberate for encryption. Dr. Ghani ran a decryption algorithm and froze. It's positional data, he said, star coordinates, but not ours. They plotted the coordinates onto the galactic map, a region beyond Sagittarius, a star, near the dark rift, a place unreachable by current technology. A silence stretched through the room. Cortez whispered, "That's where it came from." No one spoke for a long time. Then Loeb said quietly, "Or that's where it's going." At 3:19 UTC, the fragment's light flared. The containment field failed. Sensors exploded in white noise. When the brightness subsided, the object was gone. In its place remained only a faint blue residue on the containment glass, shimmering dust that slowly drifted upward, defying gravity until it vanished into the air vents like mist. Outside, telescopes across the world detected a new anomaly. Far beyond Jupiter's orbit, another faint blue signature emerged, smaller this time, but identical in frequency. It pulsed once every 11 seconds, the same sequence of primes. Humanity realized it was not a single message, but a chain, a relay, a pattern left behind for those who dared to watch. Dr. Cortez looked out from the lab's glass wall toward the rising dawn. "It wasn't saying hello," she whispered. "It was saying, remember." And somewhere beyond the reach of human sight, in the cold eternity between stars, another pulse began. The pulse returned on the seventh night. Softer this time, almost shy. A whisper folded into the static of the universe. It rippled across frequencies, touching every satellite, every dish, every quiet radio left tuned to the void. And like a heartbeat, the world listened again. 11 seconds apart, then 10, then 11. A breathing rhythm, like something alive learning to speak. At NASA's Deep Space Network, rows of monitors flickered with pale blue light. The signal had reappeared in multiple bands simultaneously, optical, infrared, and something new, something no instrument could categorize. It wasn't electromagnetic at all. It was gravitational. The blue signature wasn't light. It was space itself, vibrating, bending in rhythm. Dr. Cortez stared at the waveform and whispered, "It's talking through gravity." No one answered. No one could. The new object beyond Jupiter pulsed in perfect synchronization, but as the analysis deepened, the team noticed a shift. The coordinates encoded in the signal were no longer pointing outward into the void. They were moving, adjusting, slowly but undeniably, toward Earth. Governments scrambled to interpret the data. Military satellites pivoted. Missiles were silently armed and quietly disarmed again. Around the world, people looked up, searching for the faint blue flicker in the night. In deserts, in cities, in frozen outposts beneath auroras, strangers stood together beneath the same sky. Hope and fear merged into one emotion. In the Oval Office, the president asked the question everyone feared to ask. "Is it coming here?" Dr. Loeb's reply was quiet. "It's already been here." Over the next 48 hours, the signal began to localize again, its strength peaking once more over the Nevada desert, the same coordinates where the fragment had first been found. A global broadcast was prepared in secret, feeds from every nation patched into a single network. For the first time in history, humanity's attention aligned perfectly with the heavens. Then, at precisely 11:11 p.m. UTC, the air changed. Cameras captured a faint shimmer, like heat rising from asphalt. The sky darkened to a shade beyond black, and a glow unfolded, not from above, but from within the air itself. Blue light poured silently into being, spiraling upward into a column that stretched beyond sight. The ground vibrated, not with sound, but with resonance. Deep and harmonious, felt more in bone than in ear. Within that pillar of light, shapes began to emerge, geometric, mechanical, translucent. Hexagons interlocked, with impossible grace, forming an ascending lattice. It wasn't landing, it was revealing. People watching from across the world saw the same thing. Not a ship, not a creature, but a pattern of mathematics carved into reality itself. Rings upon rings crossed by a single line, the same symbol encoded in the original signal, 10 and 1, completion and motion, creation and departure. The frequency stabilized. Instruments across the planet detected a single tone, rising from 15 Hz to 432, aligning perfectly with the natural resonant frequency of Earth's magnetic field. Then came a silence so pure it hurt. Dr. Cortez spoke first, barely audible. "It's synchronizing with us." For 13 minutes, the column of blue light pulsed with the same rhythm as the human heart. Monitors picked up electromagnetic harmonics matching the average pulse rate of the scientists standing nearby. The universe was listening and mirroring. Then the voice came, not in sound, but in every screen, every speaker, every circuit. A tone layered with order, a translation born of numbers, not words. On the monitors, symbols appeared, prime sequences, then spirals, then a single phrase decoded in universal binary, "We see you." And as suddenly as it began, the light faded. The desert fell quiet again. The glassy circle in the sand cooled to gray. The stars returned. Within hours, the world erupted. Faiths clashed, empires trembled, and yet millions wept with a strange peace. Because for the first time, the answer was undeniable. Humanity was not alone. And whatever had reached across the void had chosen not to conquer or destroy, but to acknowledge, to see. Weeks passed. The data was studied, replicated, verified. Nothing like it had ever existed before. But one fact remained unexplainable. The energy required to produce that gravitational pulse was greater than what an entire galaxy could output. And yet it had left no trace, no radiation, no scar, only understanding. Dr. Loeb addressed the United Nations beneath a halo of cold light. "Maybe the question was never who built it," he said. "Maybe the question was why we were meant to notice." He paused, looking out at the crowd of world leaders, scientists, and children gathered from every nation. Perhaps the message wasn't about them at all. Perhaps it was about us, whether we're ready to be more than watchers of the sky. That night, as the last reporters filed out, Dr. Cortez stepped onto the balcony of the observatory and looked upward. The stars shimmered, countless and ancient. Then, just at the edge of vision, she saw it, a single faint pulse of blue, far beyond the orbit of Neptune. Once every 11 seconds, calm, rhythmic, watching. She smiled through her tears. "They didn't leave," she whispered. "They're waiting." The pulse continued, echoing softly through the cold expanse, a heartbeat stitched into the fabric of eternity. Humanity had listened, answered, and changed. And somewhere in the silence between stars, something smiled back.